Hey everyone. Hi. Good evening. Have you, at some point in your life, ever thought of changing your personality? Or even, I want to be better, I want to add some layers to my personality. Have you ever had that moment, even as kids? Show of hands, please. Yeah, even I was one of them. As a kid, I was extremely insecure, underconfident. I couldn't even look people in the eye. Ever had that moment? Cool. Yeah, you're not alone. And, there was a moment when I was in my classroom and I had my best friend Midun with me, and I asked him, bro, I want to work on my personality, I want to change it. And he goes, that's impossible. You cannot change your personality. That's very encouraging coming from a friend. And I was like, oh, no. And then years passed by, and I found myself in a transition phase. Liminality, yeah, that's the theme. When I started learning English seriously, that's when I found some changes happening inside my body, inside my mind, and I could find a different version of me coming out. The problem with this was when I was trying to speak, English and Malayalam together, mixing up English between Malayalam. Do you do that? In the class, in the birthday, you do that, right? We cannot speak like Malayalam completely. We mix up languages. That's what we all do. When I tried to do that, I lost that grip. I found that I was losing grip on that language that I'm using inside another language. It was not a problem, but my profession was, I was a video presenter. I was a content creator. My job was to speak on camera. And then when you mess up words in between, that doesn't look good. So I thought, maybe I'm crazy. And that's when I did some research and I figured that every language you learn, you unlock a different version of you. It's like you're taking on a new personality. Have you watched the movie Onion? Vikram's movie Onion? You have like different versions of him coming out. Just imagine, the guy who was underconfident, who couldn't even look people in the eye, who was, I couldn't talk about public speaking, but he was even worse, the worst at one-on-one conversations. I suddenly gained confidence when I mastered this English. I wouldn't say mastered, but started speaking in English, started thinking English. I have a question for you. Like, why do you use languages? What are languages for? What is the purpose of a language? Have you thought of it? Speaking, right? Listening, reading. What language do we use to think? Mostly our native language, right? Malayalam, we are Malayalis. All Malayaligal, so we Malayalam chintikkum. But think about it. If you think in Malayalam, how can you speak in English? I developed a personality in English because I started thinking in English. It's important because the thought process, the structure, the framework of both English and Malayalam are totally different. I'll give you an example. Take this sentence. I've been to Kochi. I've been to Kochi, right? If I use the same thinking pattern that I used for English to speak in Malayalam, I'm using the same sentence. Like, I've been to Kochi. So it's like, Njan poyittundu Kochi. Doesn't make any sense, right? In Malayalam, we would say, Njan Kochi poyittundu. The pattern is different. The structure is different. The thought process is different. And your thoughts define your identity. Your thoughts define your personality. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's what it is. So every time I want myself to be more confident, there's a little trick that I do. I summon my English self. Like, bro, I need you, and I tap here a couple of times. Something I developed to, come out of that underconfident phase. And my English personality takes over, and he'll do the rest. I don't have to worry about that. But conversely, the problem is, when you're, let's say, interacting with your parents, how many of you here, whose native language is Malayalam, try to speak to your parents in English? Have you done that? Nobody. We can't do that because we have established the relationship with our parents in Malayalam, which is our native language, and it's your Malayalam persona that's connected with your parents. So relationships, when you find yourself in a relationship, there's a character to it. One version of you is established in the relationship. I had a friend of myself, he told me, bro, I need to work on my English speaking skills. Could you talk to me in English? I found it extremely awkward because I had spent maybe 5 years in that friendship, and it was my Malayalam persona that was his friend. And when I started talking to him in English, it was like I was talking to him for the first time. So that's something I figured out. And it's not just about the personality and your thought process, there's something else, body language, which is involved in this whole game of language and personality shift. Your body language changes. You know, this thing where, I don't know, Indians have this head wobbling thing. When you speak Malayalam, we do this. You do this, right? Whole body language. I'm going to change my personality to Malayalam. Malayalam സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെ സംസാരിക്കാം കേട്ടോ വേറെ ആളെ. But I have to, okay. Now I've switched back to my English version. That's what I do. My vocal setting changes. Vocal setting. So first thing is your personality, your thought process. You have to think in English. Number two, your body language. You know, it becomes stiffer. Shoulders are tighter. And there's one more thing, which I call it the vocal setting, which is nothing but just the tension, the movement of your lips, your jaw, your tongue, all those organs that are involved in speech production. There's a way we produce sounds in Malayalam. There's a different way we produce sounds in English. You cannot be mindful about it all the time. You got to get it inside your subconscious mind, and that happens through practice and by imbibing your language persona. For example, take this sound, the ta sound. How many of you here are familiar with the ta sound in Malayalam? Ta, tara, ta. In English, there's no ta. It's th. That's the equivalent of the ta sound in English. For a small change, like the word think. If you want to just make your accent more neutral, one thing you can do is, instead of saying think, say think. And instead of saying thank you, say thank you. The tongue comes between your teeth like this. This is the position of your tongue. This is the tongue, this is the teeth. And air comes out. There's no voice. No vocal cords are required for this sound. Think, thank. And you cannot be conscious about it all the time when you speak English. You cannot, I have to make the sound, make the ta sound as th, or the ta and ta. It's more like muscle memory, and when you develop a language persona, when you learn this language, and you've adapted to it, when you become fluent, when you think in English, you subconsciously tend to mimic all these things, and it's not a short-term process. You have to commit to it for a long term. That's how you do it. So think about it. How interesting is it? Like, you take on a new language. You take on a new personality. For instance, I do speak Hindi. I speak Malayalam, which is my native language, English and Hindi. And when I speak Hindi, I'm more romantic. That's the persona. So we have different layers. So this is something that I guess all of us should work on, especially if you want to add layers to your personality. It's like unlocking a different version of yourself by learning a new language. And that's what language has done to me, and that's what I guess it can do to all of you. Thanks very much for your time.